Hey, it's America's Supermom. Thank you for joining me on my podcast. This series is the Corona Chronicles. I created this so that we would have an outlet of positivity in the midst of a lot of negativity. You know what I'm talking about. All the news, the fear around this virus, how it can affect us, what the new normal is looking like, and how so many things have changed that a lot of people feel like um, it is the end of the world, so to speak. So, this podcast was created so that those of us who have hope, who are willing to move forward with this new normal and innovate new things that will help us to be creative and positive. That is what this platform is for us to come together and share that positivity and that light with those who may need it. So if you're interested in sharing your insight, please reach out because we can never have enough positive news. So sit back and enjoy the show.
I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Yolanda Riley. We actually got connected through Facebook. So we were able to connect on a Zoom call and really appreciate the stamina, fortitude, everything that she exhibits. You know, we were able to share like minded stories about our journey just in general, and excited for her to be here and share whatever she feels is on her heart in order to help encourage us to continue to move forward and have hope during these uncertain times. So at this time, I'm going to give Yolanda the mic so that she can introduce herself before we get into the interview.
Well, hello, and thank you for that wonderful intro. And
Oh,
I am so happy and honored to be here. And like Lachelle said, we met through Facebook and we just connected. And
mm-hmm,
I am very inspired by Lachelle's work because uh, I feel like we have similar aims. And so, what I do
mm-hmm,
personally is I am an empowerment, a mindset, a transformation coach. And specifically, I help people break free from self perpetuating stories um,
mm-hmm,
and help them to reconnect with their authentic selves and their life purpose. And I was really drawn to that, especially at this point in time with everything that's happening in the world. It's
mm-hmm,
so easy to lose sight of who you are and actually like what you are truly here to do. And so
mm-hmm,
more I feel like this time more than any time it's a great time to help people along that path because I'm also walking the walk.
Amen.
I'm walking the
Amen.
walk, so it's not it's not a I'm helping you, person. It's because I know. It's because I know, and
Mm,
so going through that, I want to be a resource and help support people who are going through the same thing, because it's easier
mm-hmm,
when you have support and it's just better in numbers when you see you're not alone and there's people going through something similar, and then you can also help support them on that path. And in
mm-hmm,
addition to that, like in addition to being a coach, I'm very big into wellness. So I'm also a Reiki master. Very
mm-hmm,
that's I feel like that's a very important and really easy tool for self care and just to foster that reconnection. Honestly,
mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm,
also I am a sound healer, so I work with Tibetan singing bowls and tuning forks, and then also an essential oils educator as well. So anything that has to do with improving the quality of life of others, I'm
mm-hmm,
really all about that because it fills me with joy. That's that's my purpose, and
mm-hmm,
finding my purpose, it reveals my true self, my true nature, which is I just love helping, living beings, humans, to
Mhm.
thrive and survive, not only survive, but thrive, to thrive.
I love that. Yeah. And so this is, like you said, a great time for such a topic that you deal with in terms of people, finding their voice and, really unlocking some of these things that are keeping them stuck, you know.
Hmm.
So I guess my first question would be because a lot of people, which is what I found with depression, is, we see certain things as being the way we have been conditioned to see it. So in my case, I was going to soccer games, I was attending field trips, I was still participating in community activities and just being active. However, I was depressed. So for somebody who is a ideal client of yours, what are some signs that could be going on that they may not be aware that they are not actually um, being all that they can be?
That's a great question. When it comes to when it comes to that, I feel that it's important when you recognize that when you're feeling unfulfilled,
Mhm.
and when you feel unfulfilled, when you don't feel happy. I understand that happy is a fleeting state, but just content. Like there's
Mm.
a pervasive um, tranquility uh, that should happen, throughout. Just meaning you know that there's going to be ups and downs and whatnot, but when you're secure with and comfortable with who you are and
Mhm.
what you're doing, it shouldn't be an issue. But what becomes
Mhm.
an issue is there is a when you feel that your current self, whatever that may be, is not really who you are. So, and that can come up in so many different ways. So, for
Mhm.
example, let's say you were a creative child and you wanted to be an artist. And
Mhm.
so, like, that was just something that you were drawn to. But because of external influences like family, friends, maybe you were adept in another field, and because people are concerned with safety and
Mhm.
security, maybe they pushed you into being, um, a computer science um, major or something like that, but that wasn't your true calling. So you go through it because
Mm.
you're able and you can do it, and you have fashion and life out of it, and you made a pretty, you're living pretty good, salary wise and all of
Mhm.
that. But then when you get home at the end of the day, there's like an emptiness.
Mm.
There's something that's feeling unfulfilled, and
Mhm.
that is because your passions lie with art, something creative. That doesn't mean like you can't go
Mm.
and do a hobby or something like that, but I mean like actually living in that stream consistently, like
Mm.
where your passion is art, and it's just unfulfilled.
Mhm.
It's something like,
Mhm.
it's something like that, and it's also, um, like if these selves that we get conditioned um, to use, we adopt as our identity, so to speak. So if someone
Mhm.
is used to you being, um, the rock, let's say, the foundation,
Mhm.
and you never
Mhm.
signed up for that, and you're saying, well, if I'm supporting everybody else, but who's supporting me? That gets
Mm.
very tiring because maybe in real life, and when you're honest with yourself, you're really not that. You were just forced into that situation, you know.
Mhm.
So it's things like that where you recognize that you're not, um, you're not living uh, with it's not true. Whatever it is not true. And it's a simple question
Mhm.
to ask, like, just going to that simple question and asking, um, is this true? Can open
Mhm.
a whole other world for you. Meaning like, is
Mhm.
this true? Like, is this, is this true? Am I supposed to be the life of the party because people see
Mm.
the party, and now I act like I'm the life of the party? But is this really true? Or, is
Mhm.
it really true that I want to be the president of said bank, or something like that? Is this true for me? Or when I get home,
Mhm.
behind the closed doors or what have you, I don't feel that way. It doesn't bring
Mhm.
me happiness. It's not contentment. It's not fulfilling. It's not as
Mhm.
meaningful as it should be.
Mhm.
When it
That's
gets to
good.
that point, yes, it's so,
Mhm.
because when because we condition ourselves and we tell ourselves the stories, which is why, those conditioned stories is so important to really investigate, to see,
Mhm.
is this something that's a a mechanism, like a defense mechanism for protection, or
Mhm.
is this something that, it has some truth to it? And if not,
Mhm.
just starting with that simple question of, is this true? And being honest with yourself first
Mhm.
is the first step to being genuine. I'm talking about just being honest with yourself. When I say authentic self, that's what I mean. Like, we sometimes we condition ourselves, and we're not being completely honest with ourselves. It's just like when somebody
Right.
said, um, for example, something happens, maybe you got into an argument, or something happens, and you're out in public, or you don't want to fight again, and someone asks you, are you okay? And then the first reflex is what? I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Mhm.
You need help? No,
Mhm.
I'm fine. I'm fine. When it's not always true.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's that kind of condition.
Mm.
And when it gets to a point where you say, I'm really not fine. It's just a
Mhm.
conditioned response when I say I'm fine. And that's not true, because just to be just blunt, that's a lie. That's a lie that we tell us. When we
Right.
say that's a lie, and we open ourselves up to the truth and just say, like, admit to yourself what is true, that
Right.
opens a whole other door. Whole other door.
Mhm. Mhm. And it takes a lot of strength, because that's definitely um, just to try to kind of reframe that even thought process, because many
Mm,
times I was talking to someone yesterday, and we repeat statements to ourselves like, they're not going to listen, or, I'm going to look crazy. And the minute you reframe that to a question, it sends you on a totally different path, because we
exactly.
we we talk about stuff as if it's factual. And
Hmm.
this is another thing. It's not even a lot of stuff we're saying. It's not even fact, or we don't know if it's true or not. It's just something we're speculating about.
Right. Exactly.
You know.
Hmm.
Mhm. So that's really a good thing, is to think about questions. Um, so for somebody who is, they've kind of figured out, they've got that recognition that, something isn't quite fulfilling, what should be one of the first steps they take to kind of get on the right road?
After that recognition, I would recommend really trying to figure out what steps to take next after that recognition
Mhm.
happens,
Mhm.
and when I say that, meaning to actually give yourself grace
Mhm.
when that comes, because one of the first things that could happen, because you happen to be honest and really tell the truth, is that defense mechanism, that old survival mechanism, which is misguided. It
Mhm.
kicks in, and it tries
Mhm.
it, it tries to protect you from those feelings, because something like fear may pop up, or worry, or anger. you know, in
Mhm.
response to that.
Mhm.
And so just identifying that and identifying the the defense mechanisms that pop up, the
Mhm.
survival mechanisms, and
Mhm.
being aware of that and um, saying to it that I understand, I know what you're trying to do, but it's
Mhm.
not necessary at this time, you
Mhm.
know, um,
Mhm.
and being brave. Like you said, it takes a lot, and then it takes courage as well, right?
Mhm.
Because that's not easy, especially we're always our biggest challenge in life, aren't we?
Mhm.
We're
So
always going to
true.
be our biggest,
Mhm.
and so that means
Mhm.
brave and um, being brave and saying that you are going to feel, what you're going to feel and accept it. Because when you're able to do that, you're able to take the next steps.
Mhm.
You're able to take the next steps. You're able to, seek out the help that you need or explore
Mhm.
where it's coming from if that's important to you to identify where some of the origins lie, so that way you're
Mhm.
able to say, uh, I no longer need this. That's important.
Mhm.
It really is.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
So
the
true.
yeah, and the biggest thing I would say the biggest thing is to give yourself grace and
Mhm.
and find out more. Find out more.
Yeah. I love that. And and I think a lot of these issues that we come up with, like in my case, it was 13 years I was struggling with depression. And
Mhm.
so there is not going to be a quick fix,
No.
and it's not like, something that is one you're done, or because you identify it, then boom, you're going to be fixed the next day. It's a process, just like
Right.
it was a process being in that.
Mhm.
So you got to give yourself grace and have patience for that. So, knowing what you know now in
Mhm.
terms of your mindset, having a particular way of questioning and looking and observing things a little differently, what are some routines that you do to kind of keep you grounded in this new pathway of thinking, so to speak?
Oh, I love that question. So,
Mhm.
um, in order to get to that, I don't know if I had shared my personal story. Do you mind if I share that a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit? Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because when I said I walk the walk, I really mean it.
Mhm, mhm,
Up until recently, um, to
mhm,
be honest with you, and it's always an ongoing process, isn't it? Um,
mhm,
but I will tell you where all of this stemmed from briefly is because for years, years and years and years, um, I just felt like I was in a fog. I never felt present. I either worried about the
mm,
past or like something with the past. I was sad about it or what have you, or I was worried about the future. But
mhm,
any place was better than the present because I didn't
mhm,
like, I didn't like myself. I didn't like the situation. I didn't like, I just had low self-esteem and
mhm,
didn't trust my intuition, my instincts, you know, um,
mhm,
which it makes you vulnerable to other people when
mhm,
if they come off more confident or anything like that. And that was
mhm,
years. That was just years, and it felt like I lived in a fog for years.
mm,
And
mhm,
then, all of a sudden, I started to get into, meditation. Buddhism helped, like meditation helped because one of the first things
mhm,
it helps you to do is ground in the present and talk about the present, being here
mhm,
now.
mhm,
And I had recognized I never did that. And when I started to do that, I started to uncover some of the things that was happening that kept me in that fog. I dealt with loss and grief, and I didn't have an outlet for it. I really didn't. grieve
Mm.
in a healthy way because I didn't know how. Like, so it was like a lot of miscommunication, internally,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
a lot of loss and a lot of things that I didn't know how to express, like emotions all jarbled
Mhm.
up, communication all jarbled up on the inside. Now, and on the outside, people saw a happy, smiley person, which I still am,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's more genuine now.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
without the sadness or anything that I apparently hit well, you know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so that has been an ongoing thing. So when I started to get into meditation and Buddhism, and that rang a bell for me because it was all about being in the present, all about
Mhm.
being aware of others, being aware of your internal state, so you can be aware of what's happening around you and others. That was so
Mhm.
influential and really guided me to work and be of service for people more. um,
Mm.
that it became a pathway. Like it really became something that I wanted to continue. And so that was one. Walking out in nature was another one.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because like originally I came from an urban area, and
Mhm.
then I moved to I went to college, and I was just like so taken aback from the trees and like just places to walk and all of that. I just made it a
Mhm.
routine, um,
Mm.
kind of taking time and being by myself and doing whatever it is, like if if I have um, a certain scent that I like, I would put that on, and um,
Mm.
music or reading something inspiring, being around
Mhm.
inspiring people, and it just developed more. So now,
Mhm.
like recognizing when I'm not okay and not covering that
Mhm.
up, not just saying I'm fine and
Mhm.
then just patting myself and go up, and just continue.
Mhm.
Uh, I I wanted to be more honest with myself.
Mhm.
And the more honest I was with myself, the more I was able to deal with, and
Mhm.
creating those pathways as you were talking about really came from that courage to continue
Mm.
and trust my
Mhm.
instincts and trust my intuition and just be
Mhm.
open to that, and
Yeah.
taking what is needed, what needs to be done in order to move forward. So um, instead of looking at things through a negative lens or a survival lens, which
Mhm.
as you know, now more than ever, with everything that's
Right.
happening, that is a challenge, isn't it? Like that's a
It so is. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
and it's real. So believe me when I say I'm not glossing over what's happening. I use what was happening for me at this point in time as a springboard
Right.
because I felt like it was now or never. And
Mhm.
I was just like, and I got tired. There's another thing. At some point, you get tired. and
Mhm.
and that
This
goes
is
for
true.
anybody else, that goes for other
Mhm.
people that recognize that at some point you just get tired and you're ready for
Mhm.
something. You're ready for a change.
Mhm. Mhm. So
Um,
true.
yeah,
Those are some great points that you bring up. Now,
yeah.
so for somebody, and you talk a little bit about grief,
Mhm.
for people who, this is a thing that's underlying for a lot of people that has not really been addressed. Of course, we know that some people are grieving the loss of family members
Mhm.
during this time, and they're not able to go to a funeral that they're used to. That
Mhm.
whole uh, process has changed. But then we also have, grief about a way of life. You have teenagers who couldn't celebrate their graduations or
Mhm.
prom, and some of these routine or traditional practices that have just been key. Um, I don't know what the milestones for
Mhm.
their development, growth, and just stage of life. So, for people who are grieving those things, what are some things that we should probably practice in order to move through that in a healthier way?
Yeah, that is a great question.
Mhm.
It's it is hard.
Mhm.
Everything that we're going through right now is hard. And everyone, of course, has their own experiences with
Mhm.
what is going on right
Mhm.
now. And that's what really drove me was the loss and the
Mhm.
grieving on so many levels.
Mhm.
As you were saying, like the grieving of a way of life, the grieving of certain milestones like graduations, um,
Mhm.
grieving and loss because of, maybe your business shut down or, you
Mhm.
lost your job, income. Um,
Mhm.
and of course, grieving of health or anyone that has lost a
Mhm.
loved one,
Mhm.
either due to COVID or other causes, and they're unable to e- grieve in a ritualistic way. All and like you said, all of
Mhm.
that has changed.
Mhm.
And I feel that it's so important not to gloss over anything that's happening at
Mhm.
this point in time
Mhm.
because it's not okay. Things have
Mhm.
changed and
Mhm.
it's hard, and it's okay to say that it's hard.
Mhm.
If it's difficult to say to somebody else, you don't have to say it to yourself. I mean, you don't have to say it to
Mhm.
anybody else, but you can admit that to yourself
Mhm.
that it's not okay, because this is one of
Mhm.
those things where that defense mechanism, that survival mechanism may kick in because it's trying to
Mhm.
protect you, and which starts up those stories.
Right.
And when you do that, there's a whole gloss that goes over your emotions, even, I mean, like it could be
Right.
disconnecting your emotions and
Mhm.
disconnecting you in so many ways that would make us feel human.
Right.
And I recognize that it's sometimes you do need a break from your emotions. I understand that, but to completely be disconnected is to rob
Mhm.
you from your humanity. It robs your humanity, if you ask me.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know that
That is.
because it's a life. It's a lifeline for us. Our emotions.
Mhm. That is so true, and I think that is the thing. It's like you begin to get desensitized. People have problems sometimes with their kids playing violent video games because they're like, um, it does element of dehumanizing people when you ignore certain things, or it can make you numb,
Mhm.
can make you desensitive. And then it's like later on, we're not able to communicate effectively, or some of the other problems can stem because we've kind of like, somebody is a villain. We can easily villainize them more so than having empathy and saying, you know what, they feel this way. I wonder why, and beginning a dialogue about that. So much easier for a lot of people to minimize their emotions and pretend they don't exist, and
Mhm.
just say, hey, you know create this story. They
Right.
don't want to cooperate with me, and this is how you can have people going off on the deep end about some stuff that may not even be true because of the
Mhm.
story that they create in their head.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
unless we are, like just trained from the beginning, we don't catch that. We don't
Right.
really catch that until later on. And so what I feel now is, now more than ever, it's important for people to reconnect and also remember
Mhm.
it's not something that nobody was ever born with. It's through
Mhm.
our external influences and how we take that internally and all of that. But we all come from the same source, you know.
Mhm.
We just have our
Mhm.
individualized experiences. So this is why I stress that we're reconnecting,
Mm.
remembering,
Mhm.
because it's really all within us. When you
Mhm.
do that, it's really all uh, within us, and it's there. It's just sometimes we may need some support in order to unlock and get through those layers that's covering that,
Mhm.
so that way you
Mhm.
get back to your true self and get back to what you're really meant to do on this earth.
Mhm. Mhm. So true. That's good. Now, so what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
Oh, well, some of the best ways for the audience to get a hold of me is I do have a Facebook business page. I have a business. It's called Tranquil Roots Intentional Coaching. And
Mhm.
so I have that on Facebook. So I have a
Mhm.
Facebook business page, and I'm also on Instagram. So you could just look up Tranquil Roots Intentional Coach on Instagram, and I'm there. And then I also have a website, and the name
Mhm.
of the website is Tranquil Roots Reiki, tranquilrootsreiki.com. And
Awesome.
so yeah, so I love talking to people.
Mhm.
It's one of my greatest pleasures to
Mhm.
like just help support them, and we help each other out. I feel it,
Absolutely.
yeah, like it more than anything, it's all about community right now, isn't it? I mean, like we're
Yes.
social distancing, and
Mhm.
it's important for us to do that. But I really see right now that there's a huge calling for another way to gather and another way
Mhm.
to create community.
Mm.
Uh,
So
so
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, I'm at those places, and then I'm also I have a workshop with a mental health resource, national mental health resource called the Mighty, um,
Mhm.
which you can look up at themighty.com. I have a workshop there,
Mhm.
and it's called
Mhm.
"It's Okay Not to Be Okay," where we talk about these feelings that
Mm.
times are bringing up in us right now,
Mhm.
and nothing is sugar coated. We just let it all air out, and
Right.
we do exercises and activities and whatnot. So along with the other offerings that I
Mhm.
do. So yeah, I mean, like I just
Mhm.
I love to work with people. So, and
Mhm.
I feel like now more than ever, people are looking
Mhm.
for ways for community and
So true.
connection, so we can
Mhm.
all lift each other up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, these are some great points. All the insight you have given us is just wonderful. And, time just goes by so quick. When I'm doing these interviews, I look
Yeah.
up, it's like, what? Is time already? Because I could talk for all hours, okay? Come up with a million questions. So that's like, we just have to have you come back.
Yeah, I would love
So
to.
it's like, because some guests be like, now look, she told me 30 minutes. She had me on there for 2 hours. I'm definitely not coming back. You know. So yes, I'm just like, I got to keep it to the time. But this has just been some great nuggets. So I guess in closing, what final words would you want to share with the audience?
In closing, I would I would love to share with the audience that um, right now, with everything that is going on,
Mhm.
this is also an amazing opportunity to question and yourself, to question and see who you are, and what do you really want to do, because everything is just in turmoil right now.
Mhm.
And usually when there's things, um, the old way is crumbling,
Mhm.
and at some point there's going to be, new ways established. It's when you talk about neural paths, I feel
Mhm.
like that's what's happening on the earth too. The earth
Right.
is creating these new neural paths because of the old ways no longer had never really served the earth, you know, but they got to go.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's got to go in a dramatic fashion. And
Mhm.
so this is a great awakening, and this is a great time to consider, where do you want to go, and who do you want to be really
Mhm.
in the midst of
Yeah.
this, because there is, no safety is not guaranteed, security is not guaranteed. And
Mhm.
so when you don't have that safety net, you don't have that security net, what can you do? I mean, you have
Mhm.
nothing to lose as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm. Yeah. Great point. I tell you, that's something to think about. So this has just been wonderful. I just really appreciate all your insight and words of wisdom. And definitely, we're going to have you come back,
I would
because
love to
I'm thinking, yeah, even like meditation, that's something that a lot of
oh,
people definitely could, benefit from. So that's even a key thing to just discuss by itself,
oh, I
and
would love to. I
so
would even
many
love to
people.
lead it too. I mean, like if that's an idea, I would love
Yeah, yeah.
to facilitate
Hey,
something.
because I think, yeah, so many people are like, medicate meditation, that's not, it doesn't work or whatever. And it's like, when you meditate on negative stuff, how many times do you repeat what the news said? And sometimes it's not even just in our head.
Mm-hmm.
They put an idea and we start speaking it. We tell 6 or 7 or 8 people a day what the news was, and then you can't even call and follow up with your clients and do your business,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with 4 or 5 people. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So we definitely need to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
well, thank you so much, Yolanda. I'm
Oh,
really
thank
glad that
you.
we got connected,
Me
and
too.
we definitely will be collaborating again soon. Okay.
Okay, I would love that because I already got ideas about what you
Awesome.
just said.
Awesome. Well, we definitely will have you back, and we will definitely put it into practice.
Okay,
All
you
right.
got
You have a good day. Okay.
you too.
All right.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. I really enjoy providing content that inspires and challenges us to be a better version of ourselves. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please email me at info@lachelleatkins.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, or my YouTube channel. If there was something in this episode that resonated with you, it probably will resonate with someone else. So please share it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But those aha moments, those moments of really getting something and changing your perspective are very very pivotal in having people change the trajectory of their lives. And so being able to share insightful information so that other people can grow is the easiest thing that we can do as we pay it forward. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have time, write out a review. Go to iTunes, Anchor, wherever you can find this podcast on any of those platforms, and write a review about what impact this episode had on you, what you learned, or whatever. Any feedback is great because it just helps me to understand what content is really beneficial for those that are listening. So again, I want to thank you all for your support and taking the time to spend some time with me and my guests. And I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.